Welcome back to the show, you guys. Today I'm joined by none other than Randy GARN, who is a New York Times bestselling author, partner at High Performance Institute, and a super passionate entrepreneur whose favorite thing to do is help grow companies and people. As a partner at Tamarak, his focus is to help build durable and purposeful companies, and he also works closely with some of the world's most recognized CEOs, thought leaders, and experts. He was awarded Entrepreneur of the Year by Ernst & Young and Top 40 Under 40 Entrepreneur. And in today's episode, we get to discuss what high performance habits you must be doing in order to see massive growth in your life. Before we jump into this episode, I do want to say thank you to our sponsor, Organifi, who you guys know that I love and trust for all of my superfood blends. Organifi is a line of organic superfood blends that offers plant-based nutrition with high-quality ingredients and less than 3 grams of sugar. I absolutely love their green, red, and gold juices. And if you can get your hands on the gold, the chocolate gold, you are going to be in heaven. Organifi is one of my favorite companies to buy from because of their high quality ingredients that are all plant-based. It's super convenient and you can get it for less than $3 a day. Plus, all of their products are USDA organic, cruelty-free, gluten-free, certified, and dairy-free, soy-free, vegan, all of the things, no GMOs. It is as healthy as you can get it. And so you know that you're getting all of the antioxidants, nutrients that you need in just a glass of water. If you put 1 scoop of one of their products into glass, it's really, really easy and convenient to make sure you're getting all of that into your diet. So if you go to Organifi.com, you can grab your own products. And if you use Tori20 at checkout, you're going to get 20% off your order today. So you can find all of that in the show notes. And go to Organifi, Organifi.com/Tori Gordon and get 20% off at checkout with the code Tori20. We're going to jump into this week's episode with Randy GARN. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the Coachable podcast. Today, I'm joined by the incredible Randy GARN, who is the best of the best when it comes to coaching, life, business strategy. I'm so excited to have you here, Randy. Thank you for being on and spending some time with us.
You, Tori, it's so good to be here with you. I literally, it was so fun meeting you at the event we attended together, and you are such a bright light, and I love your energy, but I know that what you're doing and what you're growing comes from experience, comes from really figuring this out on your own, and I feel blessed to be here and to be on your show today.
That makes me smile and I appreciate it. Here's the thing, I connected with you very shortly for like 5 seconds, at that conference, but I think you and I both jointly could feel resonance in a similar energy and something that speaks to a bigger why that is far more expansive than just, wanting to make a lot of money or, I think for both of us, it's really about impact. And for me specifically, it's about leaving a legacy. And that's what we talk a lot about on this show, is about how do we live meaningful lives that people who have known us want to sit around and tell the story of how we impacted them after we're gone. Because ultimately, I want my life to have meaning and to have purpose. Yeah. And I know that's really important for you. I want to start off maybe this conversation and just say, and ask you about your deeper purpose and your deeper why, what drives you in your life to do the work that you do, because you've done it on such a scale and had such a large level of success throughout your career. I want to know, what is the thing that drives you to get up every single day and put in the work and put in the reps?
I think for me, a big part of that, and I always haven't been this way. I think certain part of me has been this way, is I really love being that servant leader and that role model leader. But I think a lot of times, a lot of people want to do that, but how do you turn it into something that really makes a difference, both financially, economically, and then really make the impact you want to make? Growing up, my dad was a high school football coach, and my mom was in charge of the drill team and the cheerleaders and over English and debate. And so I grew up in a really, really small town in Idaho. It was in Sugar City, Idaho. It's a very sweet place. And I learned that I think the biggest thing that I learned is because it was such a small place, everybody knew we were going to live together for a long time. So I grew up understanding the law of reciprocity. It's not like I wasn't going to see these guys again at the football game or in church or wherever. It's like I think, and I've been thinking about community a lot, Tori, is I'm thinking about who is your your community and who's in your circle, but who's in your corner a
Yeah.
lot. And as I thought about in preparation for you, it's just like, how did I become the way that I did? I think a lot of it came from my dad being an amazing coach. And he's still my best friend. He's 87 years old and just an amazing, amazing man. And his whole life was dedicated to, helping people be better. He was going to be a doctor, and he's like, I have 4 sons. I'm going to buy a ranch, a cattle ranch in Idaho, and I'm going to be a football coach, and I'm going to raise boys. And so I think I take that and I'm like, I have that same kind of influence. I know that the bigger CEOs and bigger companies I can work with, the impact them, then if they have thousands of employees or millions of employees or whatever, then I actually can work with those individuals to really impact millions of people. And so
Right.
that's kind of one of the things that I do love to do. I am all about high performance leadership. I love to see the people I'm working with be on stage and just crush it, or to be able to see their company be worth X amount of millions or billions of dollars in truth, is that makes me more excited than anything on that planet. That's what I found fulfills me, is seeing those that I work with really win. And that's winning to me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. It's interesting that you grew up in that environment and like your dad was a football coach. I grew up in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and so college football was a huge thing. My parents both went to school there, and there was something about growing up in that environment where I learned very young that there was just like a spirit of excellence that I was around and surrounded by, and it made me want to perform at that
Yeah.
level. And I sort of subconsciously just adopted that because I was from there, that I was a winner. I was a champion too, because like the team had, the statues and everything that I would pass by as a little girl. And it was that like confidence that I kind of just borrowed from this football team and I made my own. It was a standard that I kind of just adopted. And I was like, I'm going to excel and exceed and play at that level too,
Yeah.
at the best, like with the best. And there's some commonalities that I've seen with people that play at that level, whether it's in business or in life in general, that allow them to perform at the highest level. Because one of the things, just thinking about football in general, like Alabama football, and you know this, I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
in order to be a champion, in order to win national championships, we won 3 of the 4 years I was in school. I was so incredibly privileged and like just, spoiled. But they train all year long
Yeah.
to do that, right? It's not something that they just start practicing right before the season. It's like this is an all year long process and mentality and a lifestyle of conditioning yourself. I'd love to hear like what are maybe your personal processes that you take your clients through, people that you work through around conditioning, mentally conditioning for playing at that high level. And building a team that's really bought into that culture,
Yeah.
because you have to have the cohesion on the field and on your teams in order to see the success that you want to see. What does that look like in your life?
So my whole life, even from when I was young, my dad would always listen to Dennis Waitley and Zig Ziglar and Jim Rohn and all that while we were driving out to the ranch. And so I think for me right now, like I'm partners with Brendan Burchard on High Performance Institute, and we're launching a new app called Growth Day. It's an amazing, amazing system and process for human performance. And for me, I've always been fascinated with, basically like human performance, like what can we do individually? But then I actually take it to another step is like high performing teams.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, we have a really, really powerful process. Brendan is probably one of the foremost as far as like research of habits. And he's written a book called High Performing Habits that we have a whole training curriculum on. So it's all scientifically backed. We've actually done a study of what are the 6 habits that make us the most effective as humans. It's not like if we've all got bad habits, good habits, but there are high performing habits. And that's really what I focus on with companies, with teams, with individuals that I work with. And that has been, it's changed me. It's made me a better person. It's made me a better dad. It's made me a better husband. Made me a really, really better business partner as well, is because now I have habits of excellence. And
Sure.
the very, very first habit, and I'm going to tell you the 3, the very, very first habit is to seek clarity. Out of all the habits that are out there, is like, do you set clarity and seek clarity out of every single day? I mean, if you saw my calendar, it is booked from morning to night, but it's also booked with time to rest. It's also booked
Sure.
with time for my family. It's also booked for time for me to be a flag football coach for my twin boys that are 10, right? But it's
Mm-hmm.
also like I squeeze the drop out of every single day. I'm not
Yeah.
kidding. Like I live life to the fullest and I'm still trying to do that to the most effectiveness as I possibly can. And so we've actually done really, really amazing research. If you want a really good book to read, it's called High Performing Habits by Brendon Burchard. We have a whole content curriculum around that. The second habit is to, once you are very, very clear with your intentions and your goals and your strategy, like I always say, like if you don't have your strategy on one page, Tori, you don't have a strategy.
Mm, that's good.
We all try to do too much, too fast, too hard, and it's hard to
Yeah.
perform at excellence. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's why I journal every single night. And I'm very, very intentional about every single day. I do monthly, meetings with myself. I go to a quiet place, whether it's to a cabin or here in my office, and really bake that out. I also have a team. But once you have really good, clear intentions, then the next habit is to generate energy. And
Right.
that's the next one. Like it's hard to have really good energy if you don't know where the heck you're going, right? So
Yeah.
those are two. So we have a whole course curriculum and content, and my whole life has been around how do we build a better human? How do I be my best self? But then how do I help support individuals like yourself and others that want to impact millions of people's lives, right?
Sure. Yeah. Well, and just thinking about that first one, right? Clarity. It's people listening to this show have heard me talk about the goal line of life, right? And we all have, hopefully, anybody listening has those goals that they're clear on, that they know where they're like intentionally moving towards. And if you don't, that's where you got to start, right? You got to figure out what is the thing I want? What do I desire? Where am I headed? Is it I want to lose weight? Is it I want to make a certain amount of money in my business? Whatever. And get specific about what that looks like. And then you were talking about that's what gives you direction, but then you have to master your time in order to move in that direction consistently. And one of the things that I've personally found and learned by experience in my life after recognizing how precious my time is and my energy, my 2 most important and precious assets, is that I can never get my time back.
Oh,
Right? Like losing my sister and my mom to cancer taught me the value of time. And that actually, if we want to continue with this theme of the game of life, right? None of us know if we're in the 4th quarter right now. Like we just like to think that we've got like your dad, that we've got 90 plus years to go. And the truth is, it's not guaranteed. And so I try to play like I'm in the 4th quarter right now, instead of waiting and being like, oh, I'll get to it later, or oh, that'll be a priority then, but it's not now. Right? So that's really, really powerful. And I'm glad to hear you say that like time management is something that's
well,
critical for
you're,
you because go ahead.
yeah, no, I am, dude, Tori. I mean, and I'm sorry about your loss,
Thank you.
because we are immortal, and
Yeah.
And I've lost some really, really close friends. In fact, this was just past Easter weekend, thinking about some friends of mine that went too early. And I remember getting some of those calls, and they're hard. And and I got ran over by a car 3 years ago as I was training for the Ironman, and I'm just thankful that I'm alive. I'm thankful for breath. So I do have a really strong sense of that, that there is a day. Like, I'm doing this podcast with you is so important because I want to give it everything I have, because I'll never be able to get this time back. And like, whose lives could you and I impact today? I always say time is free, but it's priceless. You can't own it,
Right.
but you can use it. You can't keep it, but you can spend it, right? But once we've lost that, we will never ever ever get it back. So that's why I promise you, I tell this to everybody, I give it everything I got every single day. And at the end of the night, I journal at night and I say, here, what miracles did I see in my life today? What are the 5 things that I was told myself I was going to do today? And I always say, like, dude, these are the 5 immovables that no matter what comes, I've got to get this done. And then I always say, who are 5 people that I can reach out to and impact their lives and bless them? Those are the 5 things that I ask myself every single night. And I give it everything I got. And then I'm like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how did I do today? And that is how I've chose to live my life, so that when I go to bed at night, I sleep well. I used to journal in the morning, Tori, but I journal at night so that I'm like, hey, I gave it my all today, and I can feel good about it, and I can snore like a fireman, get up in the morning and just get rowdy.com again as soon as that bell rings. And that's how I've chosen to live. But my calendar is so important. That is how I eat. That is my life. So
Yeah. Well, and I love that you also mentioned that you intentionally schedule in time for fun, time for family, time for rest, because those are also sacred rituals that are part of having a balanced, full, whole life, right? And we need off days. Like, teams don't practice all day, every day for a reason. Like, you need to rest to recoup. And sometimes for me, that's like when I get most inspired or have my best ideas, right? So I love that you're not just promoting like grind every day, but that's a part of your process.
well,
And then
I think that's a really important part, Tori, is that I think a lot of super high performing people, they think they're high performing, and they may be earning a ton of income and a ton of money. But in our study is that you need to take a break every 50 minutes, but you also need to plan time to like really think. I get my best ideas when I am road biking, or when I'm hiking in nature, or when I'm fly fishing by myself. That's when I actually get my most critical thinking ideas. And so it's not, I used to like feel guilty that I was taking a rest or a break. It's actually, you need to plan for it. A lot, I mean, this is like, we teach high performers this, because we know so many people that have just scorched earth. They've done all transactional during their whole life. They have tons of money and they're sitting on a pile of cash, but nobody wants to be their friend.
yeah,
And then they buy friends. And so, like, that high performance life and that really fulfilled life is that high performance is doing things better than average over the long term while maintaining relationships. You cannot be high performance by yourself.
yeah, yep. You have to have support. You have to have a team. I completely agree with you. And I think taking this back initially to what your first point about clarity is what I asked you, which was what was success to you. I think it's really important for people to identify and define, what does it mean to win? Like, what does it mean to win at life, to win at business for them specifically? Because it's different for a lot of us. For me, like, winning, it means like having my dad and my partner like respect me, having like, hopefully having kids one day and having kids that like me and want to be around me, right? Like, having friends, like a handful of really close friends that know that like I can trust Tori with anything. Like, she's going to be there for me. Like, that's winning in my book to some degree. Yes, there's other things on top of that, but I think defining what does it mean to win for you helps you also to recognize when you have achieved it and have like made progress that you're like, oh, I can celebrate to some extent. I can be proud of myself for the progress that I've made instead of always having that goal line just getting further and further and further away.
Yeah. Well, and I think that that's, but I do think that that's what people really are searching for right now is like, I know, for example, a very, very successful, I know a very, very successful entertainment attorney that makes, 7 figures a year. Everybody wants him. Everybody like wants to utilize him. But he's come to me and he's like, Randy, I don't have a relationship with my kids. My wife's upset. Yeah, I'm on the red carpet. I'm doing all these things. I'm going to all these events with people that don't really care about me other than I'm amazing at what I do. But he's like, I am miserable. And I have another friend that runs a detailing company to his Doctor Detail. He's got 8 kids. They all work together. They all do things together. He goes to work from 5 to 3 and he's done. He's never missed a baseball game. He's never, and yet he's actually their franchise and he's doing well financially, but he's just structured in such a way. And this really, really prominent entertainment attorney said, I wish I had his life. And so we have to think about what is it that drives true fulfillment and meaning? Because as a coach, everybody calls me Coach Garn. I mean, that's just, it's like, dude, call Coach Garn. I got people that want to come out and go fly fishing with me and get some fresh air and just spend time with me because I do feel like I'm actually getting really good at mastering the art of living, and that's really, really super important. For me, the master in the art of living actually makes little distinction between whether he's working or playing. His love and his leisure are the same. His mind and his body are all one, and everything that I'm doing is all fulfilling. And a lot of people, it's actually the essence of living, right?
Yeah.
Tori, that's the essence of living is that my energy is high. I love who I'm doing stuff with. I love who I'm working with. And so a lot of that breaks down to what are your daily habits? How are you spending your day? Are you going to work and working with people that you're miserable with and only getting 2 hours of people that you want to be with? And I have a huge philosophy. I only work with my best friends.
Yeah.
I only work with people that I love, like, and respect. Period. And that's what I've chosen to do. But a lot of people just think like I'm gonna just grind through the day, this 8 to 5, I'm miserable. But like how do we get to that other level where it's like we enjoy every second of our day, no matter what we're doing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the ideal like scenario, right? And for people who are listening to you, I can imagine some people are like, it must be nice, or I would love to work with only people that I work and respect. And if you're thinking that, my encouragement to you would be do like this like draft, go through a draft. Like in a draft, you hand pick your team, right? You're like, I want that guy, I want that guy, I want that guy. And you pick the team that you think is going to be like the most successful, that people have different skill sets, talents, abilities that you might not have. And that's how I literally see my life. I'm like, I need somebody who can help me. I need a financial advisor. I need an attorney. I need a coach. I need somebody who can help me with my nutrition. I need somebody who can see my blind spots. I need a therapist. So I'm intentionally like drafting my team. I'm like the people that are going to be in my huddle when I feel like giving up. Like, because there are inevitably going to be days where I'm like, I am like tired, you guys, and I don't want to continue to do this. But the people that are around me all have the similar goals and all have a similar vision, and we're all working towards the same thing. And they remind me when I'm tired or when I don't want to do it anymore, why I started. And I think a lot of people struggle because there isn't congruence on their team. Like they've got some friends that have completely different goals than them that are holding them back. They've got, maybe a partner who thinks, same thing. They have different goals or values or whatever, and they're trying to do it all alone. And back to your point, like you can't do life alone, and you can't win only playing defense. I mean, I know we like to say like defense wins championships, but offense is what makes you score. And I think part of playing offense is being really intentional about the people that you surround yourself with.
Well, and it is, like you said, there's probably some people listening here, like, I'm like, if there are people in your life right now that are making your life miserable, you do not need to stay around them. You don't need to be with them. You don't need to hang out with them. And I made a really good conscious decision about 13 years ago. I had a really good mentor say, Randy, why don't you take some time? We just sold our company. And I was like, hey, what am I going to do next with my life? And I had a really good mentor be like, you know where your greatest joy comes from? The greatest joy comes from the walls of your own home and for those close friends of yours. And I always think like, dude, take everything away from me, Tori. Take all my net worth away from me. Take my home away from me. Take my business away from me. Just don't take my friends. Drop me off on an island somewhere. And with my network, I will be back at it again in 3 to 6 months, crushing it. And so a lot of people, one of the things that is most important to me, and high performers too, is that they maintain relationships. You can maintain positive relationships. You cannot be a high performer if you are not kind, if you're, take advantage of people. And one of the most important things my father had taught me was, Randy, when I left for college, he said, Randy, always remember people are more important than things. And I made a list of 25 people that I loved, liked, and respected that I wanted to get to know. And even if you want to be on my favorites list on my phone, I have my favorites list here, is that I only have 25 people on there. This is my team. This is my team. And I went through and I there was 25 people that I really looked up to and admired, and I said, I'm going to do something nice for them. I'm going to find out what they need, because it's like a lot of people like, dude, how do you know this guy, Randy? Well, how do they know you? Like when I walked in with a bunch of business leaders and Ken Blanchard was there, he's like, Randy GARN, are you kidding me? And everybody's like, how does he even know him?
Right.
And I'm like, quiet about it. It's just like, because I've served him, because I've helped him, because I've done things for him, because we've, driven value for each other. And I think that that's important to know, is always serve before you sell. But again, we only have so much time. So don't waste your life on people that don't love, like, and respect you. Don't waste your life on people that take advantage of you. Don't ever waste your life on building somebody else's castle where you're just going to live outside it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, stop being around people that make your life miserable, because then you're miserable.
Yeah.
Just find those people. I promise you, get on your knees, pray, beg God, send people to my life that will make an impact with me. And then you need to intentionally write down the 25 people. We all have business strategies, some of us do. Well, a lot of time on business strategies, but what human capital strategy do you have?
Right.
That's even more important than this. Like, it's a people-led business.
So true.
And so that's what I did. I said, okay, who are these 25 people? I spent a ton of time, Tori. I spent money. I sent them gifts. I found out what was impactful. And I became super, super close with about 16 of them. The other of them, they weren't who they said they were. And so you actually find out, your life, like, I really don't like that guy.
Yeah.
He actually isn't who he says he is, or that lady, So I think what you need to, if anybody's listening on this call today, if you need any encouragement from me, to do not let anybody disrespect you. Your net worth has nothing to do with how worthy you are of great things. And so do not surround yourself with people that use you, abuse you, and don't actually do anything to give you good energy.
Yeah.
Then take time to find out who should be in your life, and I promise you they'll come to you.
Yeah. It's so true. And I think back to when I was doing basically a life audit, probably about 4 years ago, when I started to super intentionally try to call in and make myself available to totally different types of people that I wanted to align with. And I remember listening to a show like this. It was a podcast. And I had been listening to this one woman's podcast for months and just absorbing everything that I could, learning everything I could, taking notes. And there was an opportunity. She led a retreat. And I intentionally inserted myself into her life. Like, I just decided she's going to know me, and I'm going to work with her. And that's the thing that I think people also need to hear, is like, you have the power to choose, to just decide and then to do something about it. And you can decide to stay playing on the team that you're playing on. And if you're losing every game, like, you get to decide if you want to stay there, if you want to quit and you want to like go somewhere else and do something else. And that was kind of the season that I was in at the time. And I was, walking away from a lot of things, and there was a lot that I wanted to create but I didn't have evidence for yet. And so I just started to insert myself in people's lives and say, like, you're going to know me. And I've done that in business too, going forward. Is I've seen, like, who are the people that I want to learn from, who are the people that I like and I respect. They might not know me yet, but I want to learn from them. And so I'll go out and I'll get into their program, or I'll like hire them as a mentor or whatever it is. And then I doubled down. I'm like, I'm part of a program called Brand Builders Group out of Nashville, and they have thousands of clients. And, but I remember the first day I sat in an event and I was like, Rory's going to know my name. Rory's been on the show. He's a great friend. He's a mentor. He's put me in so many amazing, given me so many amazing opportunities. But I was like, I'm not just going to be another name, another face. Like, you will know me.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I love it because right now I just watch you and what you're doing. You're putting in the hard work. You're putting in the effort. You're actually doing that because a lot of people also don't understand the law of the harvest. Once you seek clarity, that helps you generate energy. Then the next one is to to raise necessity. And that's the third habit. That's what I see, you doing, and that's what I'm doing every single day. Is that's like, I'm setting hard goals. I'm climbing mountains. I signed up for 2 triathlons this year for physical efforts. I'm taking a really, really super hard, learning class right now to increase my skill set. We're launching a huge app. We've got, thousands of users on it, and it's been super, super fun, but hard. And so once you have clarity, you can do hard things. When you don't have clarity, you can't do hard things because you're waiting for everybody else to tell you what to do. If you don't have your own goals, somebody else will use you for theirs, and that will drain your energy. Yeah. And so those are some of the things that these habits will help you. And I see you, Tori, you are amazing. And it doesn't happen overnight. But you're willing to put in the effort. You're willing to put in the energy. You're willing to put in the training and the time. That is what I think too many people in society today. And a lot of times I look at whatever, people call the millennials or the, next generation. I freaking think we have the best, amazing humans are yet to come. And I think they're learning so much. I have so much faith in the younger generations and what they're going to create and do, because there's a lot of them that know how to work super, super hard and they don't get enough credit. So I really, really love the energy that you're putting in and the impact that you're already making. I just want to applaud that for you.
Well, thank you for seeing that in me. And I think ultimately, like, I've come to a place in my life where I'm like, well, what? You're like, yeah, I think I see you putting in the hard work, but what else? What's worth fighting for? And I ask my clients this question. It's like, what's worth, like, caring that much about? What is worth putting it all on the line for? And I don't think enough people have come to grips, like gotten clarity around that for themselves. And I'm fortunate enough, because of many of my experiences, to have found that early and to figure out what is worth giving my time and my energy to, that I am willing to give that up and sacrifice that for something, because I'm going to spend my time and energy on something, even if it's nothing, right? So it's what is worth caring, trying, fighting for. And is it my relationships? Is it an impact I'm trying to make? Is it a bigger vision that I have? And I think that's the motive. That's what drives me and ultimately sustains me over time. Because if we don't have that deeper why, we'll do the sprint, but then we'll quit, right? There's times for going fast, but there's times for just like diligently showing up, like consistently every day and putting that work in. And that's what I'm really committed to doing.
Yep. Well, and I think this is a really awesome quote by Henry David Thoreau, and I have it on my in my office. It really is the price of anything is the amount of life you exchange for it. The price of anything. So again, our most valuable asset is our life, which is really how we utilize our day, which is really how we utilize our time, is what we will be remembered for at the end of that.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like, what do I want to be remembered by? I want to be remembered by somebody that actually loved unconditionally. I've got 6 rowdy kids. I've got 2 sets of twins, and I am taking time to be my son's flag football coach because I had all of these 13-year-old, 9-year-old, 13, 9-year-old boys being like, "You're Coach Garn, you got to be our coach." And I'm like, I don't have time to do
Sure.
this. And literally, my son Jack looked at me. He's like, "Dad, I thought we were the most important thing to you." So I was like, so I'm doing that. And it is true. They are like my posterity, how I raise them, how they leave a legacy. That's first and fundamental to me.
Right.
And then secondly, it's my personal relationships, and then, and those other things. But I think if we do articulate our time, you will surprise yourself, Tori, of how much, and everyone will surprise themselves how much they can actually accomplish each day.
Yeah, I completely agree. Well, you've given us a lot to unpack and that people can go out and do practically. Ask themselves these questions about, what do I really want? What is the goal? What's the direction I'm headed in? How do I apply energy to that by taking control of my day and my time and where I spend that? Is there anything else you want to leave people with and around what you're doing, what you're learning, and how they can get involved with? I know you have Growth Day coming up that y'all are building out. Like, tell people about that as well.
Yeah, we've actually created probably one of the world's best um, personal development apps, which basically has, Brendan really, I mean, the 2 years of COVID happening, he's just like, dude, we're not going to be traveling around a lot. He's like, I've always wanted to do this. I'm going to build. So Brendan has built the world's best, human performance and personal development app, and it's called Growth Day. And I'll get you a link so that you can share this with everyone. But it really is, it really helps us to achieve our full potential every single day. And it comes with, online, you can set achievements, you can set goals and track them every single day. It's kind of like, MyFitnessPal or a health app, but basically all the things you want to do personally,
Nice.
to help with your mind. There's a daily fire that happens every single day, 15 minutes, whether it's Brendan or it's Mel Robbins or it's, some just amazing, amazing people that we have on our team, that just amazing content that helps keep your head and your heart in the right place. But it tracks your personal development and your growth, much like a fitness app does. It's an amazing, amazing process, because it's like, what are your habits? But it's also like, what are the systems and mechanisms that you're using to track those habits that you're growing?
Yeah.
So that's what we've created. It's phenomenal.
Well, that's, I think, the icing on the cake here, because we need those tactical processes to be able to feel good about, okay, I am moving the ball down the field. I am like moving the needle. And so I think that's an amazing way for people to actually start applying what they're learning here on this show, which is the biggest thing that I tell people, like, don't come listen to this show and not apply what you learn, right? That's not going to do you any favors. You're doing yourself a disservice. So getting the Growth Day app and actually using the tools that Brandon and your team have built out is the entire purpose of making this easy and making it something that you can do day in and day out and making it part of your routine and your lifestyle. Because anything that you commit to doing, you're going to see progress in that area. So I love that. We'll make sure that that's in the show notes for people so they can find it easily and they can download it and start to utilize it. Anything else you want to leave with us before we let you go? This has been such a fun conversation and I've loved having you, but I want to give you an opportunity to share anything else that's on your mind before we wrap up.
I think the very biggest thing that's been on my mind is that make sure that you are spending the time, and I always ask myself this question, you know, who would I want to spend my last day with? And I think you think about that as us, who would you want to go to dinner with? Who would you want to go spend one last day with? And then I'm going to ask you, how much time are you actually spending with them right now? You know, because there may come a day when that day is far gone. And so I said, make sure that you're putting people before things. I think, if you don't have your own goals, somebody else will use you for yours. But I think the main thing that I want to leave with everybody is that it's what I call my three B's. What do we believe? What do we belong to? And what are we becoming? And I just want everybody to realize like what their true, what God has created them to be is like, how do you live the life that we are created to? And I think that too many people let other people determine what that is. I was like, go for it. Give it everything you got. Make a great, strategy, a life strategy, and a good people strategy, and go for it. And listen to everything Tori says. Get on her podcast. She's going in a great direction. So I think to make sure you tune into her every single week.
Thank you. Thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for all of those golden nuggets. I mean, you are the epitome of what it looks like to be an embodied leader and servant and coach. And you're the type that I want to learn from, guaranteed. So I appreciate you, Coach GARN, for spending a little time with us here on the Coachable podcast. How can people get in touch with you, follow what you're doing, if they want to know more about you? Where do you hang out online?
Yeah, they literally can email me, randy@randygarn.com, or, Instagram, it's just Randy Garn. And so love to have anybody. What I try to do, I just try to be as inspirational as I can. I try to fill my head and my heart with great things. And so that's where I'm at.
Yeah. Go follow him. If you love this episode, please share it with a friend. You can be somebody's hero. You can give somebody a permission slip to leave a bad relationship, bad situation, go start the business, go do the thing that they've been putting off. And maybe this is exactly the message they need to hear. And we appreciate everybody that goes and leaves a 5-star rating review. Honestly, let us know what you think. Send a screenshot to us at hello@torigordon.com. We'd love to hear your feedback and how we can make this better, because we are coachable here on the Coachable podcast. We want to know how we can improve. I love you. Thank you for tuning in. Till next time, we'll see you on the Coachable podcast.